Okay, he got hit. Bodied. You see how intentional that was? He walked up before he did it. He basically looked at the screen really quick and was like, how am I going to kill him from here? I can't make this up. This is not hocus pocus stuff, guys. This is all tangible things that you guys can do too. Welcome to Footsie's Fetish number 6, numero 6. Today, we will talk about the cues that you will see on screen that will indicate potential shifts in your opponent's strategy, tactics, focus, and stuff like that. Alright, so we're still on chapter 2. This is going to conclude chapter 2, by the way, guys. So the next chapter we'll work on is about corner pressure, which is going to be pretty sick. In a game like Street Fighter V, very important. So, element number 6. Always be on the lookout for changes in your opponent's behavior, especially when they gain access to Super Meter. This part right here is crucial, okay? This part, because this goes into the idea of what I've shared with you on treating people like two different people when they get access to V-Trigger, because the reward of V-Trigger is so high in this game that people might shift their decision-making process to be more about reward than about risk. You see what I'm saying? So you want to be mindful of when things change based off of meter. When people start edging back and forth at mid-range, that's a sign they're fishing for something to nail with super. This part is very important because what did we talk about before in regards to reading your opponent? What can you use that your opponent does to indicate a change in their behavior? Your movement. Your opponent's movement, okay? This is why I was saying this part is crucial. It's when people start edging back and forth. Key word here, start, meaning they didn't do it before. Edging back and forth, which is movement. It's the wiggle, right? The wiggle. They'll move back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So now you got to think of moves in conjunction with context, right? So let's say the way I play is like, okay, right? I'm kind of moving forward. Maybe I'm more aggressive. This is up to you to figure out in your opponent. Maybe I move backwards. I'm more defensive. I'm kind of keeping you away, using a lot of evasiveness, right? Instead of engagement. You can simplify movement to one of those two things. It's engagement, moving forward, jumping forward, walking and blocking forward. Or it's evasion, moving backwards, walking and blocking backwards, jumping backwards, right? But then all of a sudden, things change because of this. I get access to super. Now I start to do different things. I start moving back and forth. Now my movement has changed. This is very strange. He wasn't moving like this at the beginning of the round. He wasn't moving like this when he had 1 bar or 2 bars. Now he's doing it with super. So you can apply this, not just super, but also V-Trigger. So you know, oh, he's playing a lot closer to me. He's wiggling. What is he doing? He's trying to land something. Something has changed. Ah, he has V-Trigger. So with that in mind, I am more cautious of whatever his typical V-Trigger activation route is with that character. So the reason why I have 1 bar up here is because you'll see in footsies sometimes that somebody all of a sudden starts playing closer to you. Why is that? It might be because of this, believe it or not. It's kind of strange. Why would anybody play closer to me because of V-Reversal? That's really strange. Well, because of this right here, this is a V-Reversal opportunity, which also adds up gray health, right? And it pushes you towards the corner. It can knock you down depending on the character. Not every character has a V-Reversal that knocks down, right? What they essentially are doing is they're trying to bait a poke that hits at that range so that way they can V-Reversal it. Does that make sense? So I'll give you an example of this. Let's say Ryu's slow forward, right? This isn't gonna reach, right? This isn't gonna reach. So if somebody just crouch blocks, let's say Ryu here crouch blocks, this isn't gonna hit, right? That'll hit, but can they V-Reversal it? Let's find out. So now if I am in this range, this isn't hit. What about this? Oh, you can V-Reversal that. Okay, so they don't have to worry about this bait and they waste their V-meter. Or this, right? They put themselves at a range where neither this nor this hits. This doesn't hit, this doesn't hit, this doesn't hit. The only things that'll hit are going to be things that you can V-Reversal. You understand what I'm saying? So edging back and forth at mid-range, that's a sign that they're fishing for something, okay? So it doesn't just have to be super. It can also be regular meter, right? It could be super. It can be V-Trigger, V-Reversal. So the V-reversal was the most subtle one I wanted to show you how deep it can go. But the other examples of, like, pretty obvious stuff. The most obvious one is me, like, fishing for, like, a poke, buffered, into super. Okay, so, remember what Daigo's Street Fighter 4 Ryu did to Punko at Capcom's International Exhibition? Stick to quick, normal moves in that situation. Don't test their reactions with slow special moves. Or better yet, lock them into block stun, then bait the super from a deceptively safe distance. Okay, so we're going to look at both examples of this, right? So this is the example. In the mirror match, this is very, very common to see stuff like this that you're going to see, because you're at the same exact spacing all the time. You understand what I'm saying? The only difference is the advantage. Who has actual frame advantage? Meaning, like, did you lock them into block stun, or did you whiff an attack? And your opponent can move first, because then it's not a mirror match anymore, because there's no mirror. You're not in the same exact situation. You see what I'm saying? So whenever you act, you've now shifted the context of the neutral. So Daigo, he's playing the blue gi Ryu, okay? So let's go back a couple seconds. Turn this down a little bit. But you see what he's doing? Look at his behavior. Look at how he's moving. All right? Remember, this is Daigo. Watch how he's moving. You see, he's doing a lot of buffers. Okay, let's put this in slower motion so you guys can see this. Look at how he's moving. He's buffering. You see the crouch? You see that? That's what does it look like when you do quarter circle forward? That's what it looks like. Right? You crouch, you touch the ground, ass to grass, and then you get up, and then he's doing it again. That's a wiggle, right? That's a buffer. Okay? All right, so you want to be very careful. If you see something like that, you try to bait their reactions out. You see what I'm saying? So instead of you doing something very slow where I could easily just react. So let's do this for example. Let's do 2 recordings. When somebody's anticipating something, the longer they go without getting it, the more likely they are to flinch at the first opportunity. You see what I'm saying? So if you just walk up with a jab, walk up with a short, with a crouch short, stand short, crouch jab, whatever, right? Maybe just jump back randomly, backdash randomly, just weird shit like that, okay? And that might actually let you sneak in something else, like a walk-up throw next time they have meter, because now they're confused, right? You want to stick to quick normals, which we just talked about. You don't want to test this with slow attacks. Better yet, lock them into block stun, then bait the super from a deceptively safe distance. So let's watch this. This was so fast. We're gonna watch this a couple times. Look at that. That was masterful. So if he doesn't do the crouching medium punch, he would have reacted to it in time. But because he was so committed to baiting it, it just threw off the anticipation. You see what I'm saying? So that's where the block stun came in. Because it just screwed with his timing enough. Okay? And look at that. He was able to block that. So let's watch this again. Okay, so what you could do essentially is, although I don't think this is a perfect example of it, there are some parts of it where what we could take away from, right? It's primarily this, because obviously that wasn't intentional. He was trying to hit him with the red fireball, but it just was too far for the hit stun to last long enough for it to combo. That's why he was able to block it. Okay, damn, that had a lot of pushback. Holy shit. Okay, so he's very far. What Ryu could, what Daigo could have done, right, is you know, walked up and just whiffed a light or something like that. Because in this situation, it had to probably be like a set read that led up to that point, where Punko was constantly baiting with crouching medium punch, but then Daigo probably just committed to fireball immediately. So then that way, the time that was eaten up for him to react to it immediately was taken up by the crouching medium punch. See what I'm saying? So that's what I was talking about with like whiffing attacks changes the context of a situation. So if Punko, who's the white Ryu, right? If Punko does not do crouching medium punch in this situation, he is able to immediately react. Okay? But the crouching medium punch right here, as you can see, okay, this crouching medium punch, this takes up X amount of frames, okay? This takes up X amount of frames. So until those frames are taken up and consumed or, you know, experienced or whatever, he can't do anything. So this would have been punishable if he did not do this, if he had just sat there. So instead, maybe Daigo sees, because I didn't watch the set, maybe Daigo sees, all right, he keeps doing this crouching medium punch as a bait after my fireball, because he's trying to punish a later fireball. I'm going to give him an immediate fireball, because during this time, you're not going to have enough time to ultra through this. So by now, you should start seeing what veteran players mean when they say everything has a counter. Footsies is more than technical knowledge. It all hinges on constant analysis of your opponent to determine which tactic to apply at any given moment. Look for patterns. And lastly, rule number 1, never get predictable. If you can't read your opponent's intentions for whatever reason, or if you simply lose track of your opponent's train of thought, do not, under any circumstances, fall back to your default game plan, which is a bad habit a lot of people do. Okay? Play it safe or do something random, something your opponent has never seen you do before. Otherwise, you'll find yourself walking or flying home with a bewildered look on your face, trying to remember what exactly it was you got hit by. Perfect example right here. Perfect example. Watch this. Io's playing Dhalsim, right? Watch how he... At that range... That stand fierce is such a obvious answer, right? Because look at the health. He just needs to hit him once. One time. Hit me one time. And I'm dead. Look at this. One time. That's it. So he's very enticed to start doing this. You see how long he wasn't doing it? He wasn't doing crouching... Stand, what is it? Stand fierce? He didn't do stand fierce. Oh, he was doing it there. Okay, so now we see it was at that spacing, right? But Daigo's fighting outside of it. Fighting outside of it. Okay, he got hit. Bodied. All because of meter. So you see, this is not a super read, because Dhalsim's not doing something based off of his super. He's doing something based off of health meter. You see what I'm saying? So this is where my aspect of the lesson comes into play, is using all meters with this in mind. What changes my opponent's behavior? Well, he's at the spacing where he wants to do stand fierce usually. On top of that, I have very low health. So it's very likely that when I put him in block stun, he's going to be enticed to want to do something. Because that was supposed to be fireball. That was a mistake, right? Look at that. You see how intentional that was? He walked up before he did it. You see that crouch? Look how subtle this was. You see that crouch? This is Daigo. Like, okay. Alright. He basically looked at the screen really quick and was like, how am I going to kill him from here? Look at that. He walked up. Look how much he walked up when he did it. I can't make this up. This is not hocus pocus stuff, guys. This is all tangible things that you guys can do too. Okay? Alright, so now let's get into some matches. Let us figure out our opponent's behavior. I like using Akuma because he has the walk speed to do whatever I want. Ideally. So let's figure out what exactly are our opponents doing. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to do callouts and stuff like that while I'm playing. I want to look at the meter together and make sense of it all. But before we do that, let's do our initial interpretation. All right? So, initially, this is what I think of this. It does not only apply to super meter. This can apply to the influences of other meters. The other meters being health, right? Advantage. Okay, so health, advantage, V trigger. It can be stun, right? Be reversal also. It can be time. So these are the other meters that can influence and cause shifts in your opponent's behavior. So typically you look for their natural rhythm, which is like match start, when they are most lax. So some people, their match start, it's not real. It's just like until they figure out what you are doing. But as you get better, you'll be able to differentiate that. You know what I'm saying? You'll be able to tell this person is trying to learn me, or this person is trying to deceive me. This person is naturally playing like this. You'll be able to tell because of consistencies in their behavior. All right? You're able to tell if a person's movement is natural, or not even just movement. We'll say their decision making. Movement slash decision making is natural based on consistency. It's a very good series of questions I would ask myself about an opponent. All right, so players are usually one of the three. They're showing you up front who they are. Those are the people that typically like to impose themselves. The people that just like, I'm gonna force my game plan on you. Or is this person trying to learn who I am by letting me play and seeing how strong I am, or trying to understand my strategy in certain places? Or are they trying to deceive me, where they're jumping between one of the three? So what they could be doing is they're just trying to throw off who you think they are because they play a certain way, but their plan A is really their plan B, and their plan B is really their plan A. That's more of a high level thing, okay? But this comes with experience. As long as your mind is primed to understand that this is possible, you'll notice it for yourself. If you don't notice these things, then you don't know they exist, so how can you possibly see them, right? So this isn't that difficult, believe it or not. It might sound like intimidating, but you'll be able to naturally pick it up the more you play. As long as you have a very clear focus and you're mindful of things, you'll easily be able to do it over time. Okay? Okay. He's delaying a lot. Okay, he had a V-trigger, he did slide immediately. Alright, so that's something to keep note of. Alright. So, based off of the way he was playing in neutral, it was very likely, it was extremely likely that he was going to just not block on defense. Because he was contesting a lot. See? So, okay. See, I'm not even anywhere near him, but he's still doing the dive kick. So he's not mindful of spacing, he's just kind of doing stuff. So I don't really have to take crazy risk. I just got to get a good jump in. I didn't really do anything. See how simple that was? It's because the way he was moving, the way he was behaving. He's the type of player that there wasn't really a change, you know, at least now. Maybe it'll change game 2. Sometimes people change round to round, game to game, after a loss, after a win. That's experience too that you have to build up to recognize these things. Everybody's different. So I'm gonna have an easier time recognizing that than somebody that's just starting off with this. Yeah, Freddy, he's a beast, man. I can't even, my man, I did it, the king! I'm not making this up. See, it's the same way that he died. I took my hand off the stick, that was funny. The same way that he died the previous match, last round, the same way he died here. Makes sense, that's what most people do. Right? See? Again. He did it again. See that? Am I making this stuff up? No. Keeps contesting. Alright, I gotta take advantage of that. Gotcha. Yep. So, in that situation, when I jumped and he did Crushing Fierce, I knew in his head he was like, oh shit, and he defaulted to what he was comfortable with. That's why he did that again. So that's why I just immediately, I was like, okay, I didn't get the punish, but I know because I jumped and you didn't punish it, you're going to commit next time. You see? That's a simple mind game against Poison. Alright? But that's because of what he's doing as a player. But I had to be mindful of that going into the match. If I try to, like, freestyle that shit on the fly, you're gonna just think of, like, more obvious answers, but the abstract answers, the very subtle answers, are the ones that are gonna give you consistency in matchups like that. You know what I'm saying?